imagine for a second that you're holding a map. Not like a map of a city or a country, but a map of your entire life.
Oh, wow.
Right? It shows you exactly where you are right now, why you keep, repeating the same mistakes, and the exact route you need to take to break out of survival mode and finally find your actual purpose.
Which is something I think everyone is looking for.
Absolutely. But now imagine realizing that the map you've been holding for your entire life is just completely wrong.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's upside down, it's missing dimensions, and worse, it's actually been directing you into a permanent state of crisis that we've all just disguised as success.
That is, it's a terrifying realization, honestly,
Yeah.
because when your structural understanding of reality is flawed, every decision you make based on that structure is just going to lead you further into the woods.
Exactly.
You end up, optimizing for exhaustion.
And that is exactly what we're tearing apart today. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. We are looking at a really profound text today called Diamond Quintessence.
Specifically focusing on Chapter 5, right? The one titled 12.
Yes, Chapter 5. And the source material here is doing something just incredibly ambitious. It takes Dr. Wayne Dyer's classic stages of adult development and basically rips them out of the linear staircase model we are also used to.
Right, the whole climbing the ladder thing.
Yeah, and it maps them onto this multidimensional geometric structure called the Diamond Spire. And in doing so, it connects human psychology to cosmology, music, biology, and the literal mathematical building blocks of the universe.
I mean, it sounds like a lot to synthesize, but the beauty of this text is how seamlessly it all fits together.
It really does.
It argues that the universe is not random, and, your development as a human being is not random either. Both are governed by a specific, recurring mathematical rhythm.
And for you listening, this is where the rubber meets the road. We are going to decode why you feel stuck in your career, why modern life feels so inherently numbing, and how a very specific number.
The number 12.
Exactly, the number 12. How 12 is the literal frequency of a completed, actualized life. Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can even touch the cosmos or the music of the spheres, we really have to fix this broken map of human development. Let's talk about the linear flaw.
Right, because we've all been sold this idea that personal growth is a staircase,
Yeah, it's like the dominant paradigm. The linear flaw assumes that human development is a ladder you climb.
So you start at the bottom as the athlete, right?
Yeah.
Completely absorbed in the physical body.
Right.
Then you graduate to the warrior, where you fight, conquer, and establish your ego in the world. Next, you climb up to the statesperson, where you lead and govern. And finally, you reach the top rung, the spirit, where you transcend it all.
Yeah, and it implies that once you climb to a higher rung, you are just done with the lower ones. Like, oh, I'm a spirit now. I don't need to worry about being an athlete.
Which is incredibly dangerous.
Or worse, it implies that being a warrior is inherently a higher state than being an athlete. But this text completely shatters that ladder. It places these stages onto a shape called the Diamond Spire. So walk us through this geometry, because if we don't understand the shape, we really can't understand the map.
Okay, let's visualize it. Throw away the ladder. Instead, picture a complex, multifaceted crystal, like a diamond structure with a central vertical axis and points radiating outward in interconnected planes.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
In this geometric mapping, these stages of life aren't rungs on a ladder you leave behind. They are interconnected nodes. They are dynamic states of being that you move between constantly.
That makes a lot more sense than just checking a box and moving on.
Exactly. And the most radical correction this text makes is where it actually places the warrior stage.
Yeah, this part blew my mind. The warrior is mapped onto what the text calls the gray diamond.
Right. And the gray diamond is located at a structural drop. It is a lower point on the A-spire. This is a massive paradigm shift. The warrior stage is not a goal.
Wait, really?
No, it is not an elevated state of being. The text argues that the gray diamond is reserved exclusively for emergencies. It is a state of crisis, a state of sheer survival.
Okay, I need to push back on this heavily, because if I look around at our culture, we don't just tolerate the warrior mindset, we worship it.
Oh, completely.
I mean, every action movie is about a lone warrior defeating the enemy. Every corporate seminar is about crushing the competition. We tell people to be warriors in the boardroom, warriors in the gym.
Road warriors.
Yes. We frame all of life as a battle to be won. So you are telling me that, according to this geometry, all of those highly successful, hyper-competitive CEOs and athletes are actually just stuck in a developmental basement?
I am telling you exactly that. And it's crucial to understand why. Look at the biological and psychological markers of someone operating purely in the gray diamond.
Okay.
It is entirely ego-driven. It is entirely self-interested. Its primary focus is on conquest, securing boundaries, and gathering material trophies.
Right, because you're at war.
Exactly. To live as a warrior means you fundamentally believe you are under threat. You are operating on adrenaline, cortisol, and a scarcity mindset.
Wow.
If you are a CEO running your company like a war zone, you might accumulate a lot of material wealth, but structurally, you are in a state of continuous emergency.
It's totally defensive. You're just waiting for the next attack.
Right. If you try to live your daily life in the gray diamond, you will eventually burn out. The human system is just not designed to sustain infinite emergencies.
That is so true.
The gray diamond is for when, like, a car swerves into your lane and you need pure, ego-driven, adrenaline-fueled reaction to avoid death or surviving a natural disaster.
So it has a purpose.
Yes, it is a vital node on the structure. You need it to survive. But it is a terrible place to build a house.
That makes so much sense when you think about the sheer exhaustion of modern life. We are literally told to treat a Tuesday morning staff meeting like a battle for survival.
Exactly.
No wonder everyone is burnt out. So if we aren't supposed to live in the gray diamond, where is life actually supposed to happen?
Well, the true flow of a healthy human life happens in the oscillation between the next two nodes, the red diamond and the green diamond.
Okay, let's start with the red diamond, which maps to the athlete, right?
Right.
Now, when people hear athlete, they probably think of sports, but the text is using this metaphorically. It's not just about lifting weights.
Not at all. The red diamond is the learning stage. It is the frequency of new beginnings.
Oh, interesting.
Think of like the neuroplasticity of a child discovering the world. That is pure red diamond energy. But you can access it at any age.
Like when you start a new hobby.
Exactly. When you
Yeah.
start a new job, when you enter a new relationship, when you decide to learn a new language or pick up an instrument, you are entering the red diamond.
You are back to being a beginner. You have to learn the rules of the game.
Right. The athlete is discovering boundaries. You are learning how to maintain your physical health, your hygiene, and understanding the basic rules of the society you are operating in.
You're just soaking it all in.
Yeah, you are a sponge for information, figuring out how to exist efficiently in the three-dimensional world.
But you can't just be a student forever. I mean, you can't just endlessly consume information and learn rules without doing something with it.
Which brings us to the green diamond, the realm of the statesperson.
Okay, what happens here?
Once you have learned the rules and gathered experience in the red diamond, you are meant to shift upward into the green diamond. Here, the ego of the warrior is entirely tamed.
So no more fighting.
None. The focus completely reverses. In the red diamond, you are absorbing.
Yeah.
The green diamond, you are radiating. You are sharing your experience.
Moving from getting to giving.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The statesperson finds their bliss, their ultimate fulfillment, in service to the collective and in profound gratitude.
Wow.
It is an elevated frequency where you are no longer trying to conquer the world, you are trying to nourish it.
So if I'm understanding this corrected map, the ideal human experience isn't climbing a ladder until you become a floating spirit.
Nope.
The true experience is a continuous breathing cycle, specifically between the red athlete, where I am curious, learning, and starting anew, and the green statesperson, where I take what I've learned and share it in service of others.
Yes.
I learn, then I teach. I gather, then I give. And I only drop down into the gray warrior if a literal crisis forces me to survive.
You've just articulated the exact pulse of a healthy human life, according to Diamond Quintessence. It's an oscillation. You are breathing in the red and breathing out the green.
But we still have one more point on this core map. What about the blue diamond? Because the text maps Wayne Dyer's spirit stage here. If we are cycling between red and green, what is the blue doing?
The blue diamond is your highest self.
Yeah.
It is the realization that you are not just a physical body learning rules or a statesperson helping a community.
Right.
It is the profound structural realization that you are infinite energy temporarily housed in a biological suit. The blue diamond is the realm of the divine, the absolute source of inspiration, pure intuition, and true innovation.
So it's not a place you live in the practical sense, like the red or green.
Think of the blue diamond as the spark that keeps the engine running.
Okay.
When you are cycling between learning and serving, you will inevitably hit a wall.
Yeah.
You will face a problem that logic cannot solve. That is when you must tap into the blue diamond.
Ah, so that's where inspiration comes from.
Right. You receive a flash of intuition, a piece of divine innovation, and you bring that spark back down into the red diamond to begin a completely new cycle of learning.
That's beautiful.
When you integrate the blue diamond, you transition from being a participant in the world to being a true co-creator of reality.
Okay, for you listening, I want you to pause and map your own life onto this right now. Where is your energy going? Are you trapped in the gray diamond, treating your inbox like a war zone?
Constantly defending your ego.
Yeah, and wondering why you feel hollow and exhausted? Or are you actively cycling? Are you allowing yourself to be a beginner in the red diamond and then finding ways to serve in the green diamond? This isn't just self-help terminology.
No, it's not.
This is a geometric restructuring of how you view your purpose.
And that geometry is where the text makes its most incredible leap. It argues that if we can shed the lower distracting points of the A-spire,
like escaping the gray diamond's constant grip.
exactly, if we can sever our attachment to the fear, the survivalism, and the ego-driven anchors of the gray diamond, we are left with a purified, highly specific geometric structure.
A structure that, when those lower attachments are removed, consists of exactly 12 points.
Exactly 12, which shifts our discussion entirely.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is that this text posits that the number 12 isn't just a byproduct of this one specific diamond model.
Right.
Chapter 5 makes the case that 12 is the architectural foundation of reality itself.
I love this transition because if human psychology operates on a 12-point geometry, then it stands to reason that the physical universe that created human psychology must also operate on that same frequency.
It's unavoidable.
And when we actually look at how we measure reality, the evidence is just overwhelming. I mean, how do we orient ourselves in space and time? We don't use 10, even though we have 10 fingers. The default setting of human orientation is 12.
It's woven into the very fabric of how we navigate the physical world. Let's start with the most immediate thing, time. We divide our day into 12 hours of light and 12 hours of night. We measure our years using 12 months. When we measure distance in the imperial system, we use 12 inches to a foot.
And I know the immediate pushback from a skeptic here. A skeptic would say, well, the 12-hour day or the 12-inch foot, that's just human invention. We just picked a number that was easily divisible by 2, 3, 4, and 6 to make fractions easier.
And that is the standard historical argument. The Sumerians used a base 12 counting system because you can use your thumb to count the 3 joints on your 4 other fingers.
Really?
Yeah, 3 times 4 is 12. It's practical. But this text argues that humanity didn't arbitrarily invent the importance of 12 in a committee meeting. We observed it.
We looked up at the sky and saw that the cosmos was already doing it.
Exactly.
Right, because we didn't invent the moon. And there are exactly 12 full moon cycles in a solar year. The mechanics of our solar system dictated that rhythm to us long before we started counting on our knuckles.
And look at how humanity mapped the stars. In Western astrology, the sky is divided into 12 zodiac signs. But this isn't just a Western phenomenon.
It's everywhere.
Islamic astrology divides the heavens into 12 signs. Ancient Chinese culture, completely isolated from Western astrological development, also divided the celestial sphere into 12 distinct segments for their zodiacs.
See, that is the part that gives me chills. You have these distinct civilizations separated by massive geography and thousands of years, all looking at the chaotic, infinite scatter of stars in the night sky.
And they all independently decide, yes, this must be divided into exactly 12 parts to make sense.
Because it is a frequency of cosmic completion. It even scales up to the largest bodies in our immediate neighborhood. Like Jupiter, the absolute giant of our solar system, the planet that exerts a massive gravitational influence on the rest of the planets, takes exactly 12 Earth years to complete one orbit around the sun.
It's like Jupiter is the universe's giant grandfather clock, keeping the tempo for the rest of the solar system.
12 is the measuring stick. It's the default setting for time and space.
A cosmic measuring stick. That is a brilliant way to frame it. When you realize that the physical mechanics of the universe function on a base of 12, it completely recontextualizes human history.
How so?
Because early humans who were far more connected to the rhythms of nature than we are today understood this inherently. And because they recognized 12 as the rhythm of the cosmos, they inevitably encoded this number into their most sacred stories, their mythologies, and their religions.
This is where we move into section 3 of the text, and honestly, this blew my mind. When you actually look at the religious texts and myths from around the globe, 12 isn't just a common number. It is the universal shorthand for perfection, completion, and divine authority.
The cross-cultural synchronization is truly staggering. Let's take a tour. because you have to hear the sheer volume of these occurrences to understand that this cannot be a coincidence.
Let's do it.
Let's look at classical antiquity. In Greek mythology, the entire pantheon is structured around 12. You have the 12 Olympian gods ruling from Mount Olympus.
And before the Olympians, there were exactly 12 titans.
Right. And when Hercules had to achieve ultimate redemption and immortal glory, he wasn't given 10 tasks or 15. He was given exactly 12 impossible labors.
Wow, yeah.
Move over to Norse mythology. Odin, the All-Father, is said to have exactly 12 sons. In British legend, King Arthur, the archetype of the perfect, divinely ordained monarch, fights exactly 12 great battles against the Saxons.
That's crazy.
And if we look at older, more obscure texts, the ancient Hurrian and Hittite mythologies specifically feature 12 gods of the underworld.
But let's ask the why here. Why did the Greeks need exactly 12 Olympians? Why did Arthur need 12 battles?
Because in the mythological mind, a story isn't just entertainment. It is a psychological container. It is a map of reality. If reality is a 12-point structure, then a pantheon of gods representing the forces of reality must have 12 points.
Oh, I see.
The 12 Olympians represent the complete spectrum of human psychological archetypes. From war with Ares, to wisdom with Athena, to love with Aphrodite. To have only 11 would mean the universe is unbalanced. 12 signifies a closed, perfect loop.
That makes total sense. And moving into the Judeo-Christian traditions, this pattern isn't just present, it is the absolute structural foundation of the faith.
Completely.
In the book of Genesis, Abraham's son Ishmael has 12 sons who become 12 princes. Jacob has 12 sons who become the patriarchs of the 12 tribes of Israel.
The structural foundation of a completed society. You don't have a nation until you have the 12 tribes. And in the New Testament, Jesus selects exactly 12 apostles to carry his message.
He didn't pick a baker's dozen.
No, he needed 12 to symbolize a new, completed spiritual foundation, mirroring the 12 tribes.
And when you get to the book of Revelation, the apocalyptic vision of the end of time, the symbolism is overwhelmingly 12-based. There is a vision of a woman clothed with the sun, wearing a crown with exactly 12 stars.
Right.
The New Jerusalem has 12 gates, 12 foundations, and the tree of life bears 12 kinds of fruit.
Now, step outside the Judeo-Christian framework and look at Islam.
Okay.
The Quran states explicitly, "Indeed, the number of months with Allah is 12 lunar months in the register of Allah from the day he created the heavens and the earth."
Wow, so it's written into the divine decree of creation.
Yes. Furthermore, in 12 Shia Islam, there's a profound foundational belief in the 12 Imams, the spiritual and political successors to the Prophet Muhammad who are divinely ordained to lead humanity.
And then we go further east to Hinduism. The pattern holds perfectly. There are 12 Jyotirlinga, the sacred shrines dedicated to the god Shiva. The sun god, Surya, has 12 names. The monkey god Hanuman has 12 names.
There are 12 Adityas, solar deities.
And if we look at the internal spiritual anatomy, the heart chakra, the anahata, is traditionally depicted as a lotus flower with exactly 12 petals.
Stop and think about the gravity of what you just listed. Greek, Norse, Celtic, Hittite, Jewish, Christian, Islamic, and Hindu traditions. Cultures separated by impassable oceans, towering mountain ranges, and thousands of years of history.
Cultures that frequently warred with each other over ideological differences.
Yet they all looked at the universe and concluded that the fingerprint of the divine is the number 12.
For you, the listener, this should completely change how you view your everyday life. When you look at the 12 on your clock or the 12 months on your calendar, you aren't just looking at a bureaucratic system of measurement. You are aligning your personal biological experience with a pattern of wholeness that every major world tradition has recognized as sacred.
You are literally syncing up with the rhythm of the universe.
But the source material doesn't let us stop at mythology or astronomy, does it?
No, it pushes us further. It argues that 12 isn't just out there in the stars or back there in ancient texts. It is a literal physical frequency that is vibrating in our ears and running through our central nervous system right now.
Right. We have to transition from the macrocosm of deep space and deep history to the microcosm of the human body and the physical aberrations we interact with. Let's talk about music, because music is just math that we can hear, right?
That is the most accurate definition of music. It is the geometry of time.
I love that.
In Western music, the foundation of everything you have ever heard, from Beethoven to the Beatles, is based on the chromatic scale. And how many notes are in a full chromatic octave?
12. From C, moving up every half step to B, there are exactly 12 tones. That is every single note on a piano keyboard before the pitch repeats itself at a higher or lower octave. It is our entire sonic alphabet.
And this isn't arbitrary. The math behind the frequency ratios naturally creates these 12 distinct steps. But the text brings up a fascinating movement in 20th century classical music to illustrate the power of these 12 tones. It was called serialism,
Yeah.
pioneered by composers like Arnold Schoenberg.
Yes, serialism. I want to spend a second on this because it's such a bizarre and brilliant concept. Normally, when you listen to a pop song, it's in a specific key. Let's say it's in C major.
Right.
That means the note C is the boss. It's the home base. The other notes are subservient to C, creating a hierarchy of sound. Our brains love that hierarchy because it's predictable.
But Schoenberg and the serialist composers asked a radical question. What if we remove the hierarchy?
What if they're all equal?
Exactly. What if we give equal weight, equal power to every single one of the 12 vibrations in the universe? They created a system called the 12-tone technique.
How does that work?
A composer would create a tone row, basically a specific ordering of all 12 chromatic notes. But the strict rule was that you could not repeat a single note until you played all the other 11.
It's like speaking a language where you are forced to use every letter of the alphabet exactly once before you can use any letter a second time.
Which is incredibly restrictive.
Yeah.
It completely eliminated the concept of a key signature. It forced the listener to experience the complete spectrum of the 12 frequencies without the comforting bias of a home base.
And let's be honest with the listener, if you've never heard 12-tone serialism, it sounds incredibly chaotic at first.
It can be very jarring.
Yeah, it is highly dissonant. It feels like the notes are just randomly falling out of the sky. But that was the point. By democratizing the 12 tones, these composers were trying to honor the pure mathematical reality of vibration over human comfort. They recognized that the complete set of 12 is a fundamental law of physics.
Now, let's take those 12 frequencies and look at the biological hardware that processes them.
Okay, getting into the biology.
The human body is a miraculous receiver of physical vibrations. And structurally, our brain connects to the outside world through a very specific wiring system. We have exactly 12 cranial nerves.
12 primary highways routing sensory information directly into the brain. Olfactory, optic, facial, auditory, all of it. Our primary interface with reality is a 12-lane highway.
But here's where the source material drops a deeply unsettling hypothesis.
Uh-oh.
It posits that because we are structurally a 12-point being, we might actually possess 12 distinct senses in total. Yet, through societal conditioning and a lack of awareness, we only consciously recognize and utilize 5 of them.
Wait, I have to stop you there. 12 senses. Biology teaches us we have 5 external senses: sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. Science acknowledges we have some internal ones, like proprioception, knowing where your body is in space, or thermoception for temperature. But are you saying we literally have 12 conscious avenues of perception that we are just ignoring?
The text suggests that our potential for perceiving reality is vastly more complex than the standard 5-sense model. We have latent capacities to sense magnetic fields, atmospheric pressure, the emotional frequencies of others, and subtle environmental shifts.
That is wild.
But the critical point the text makes isn't just about unlocking hidden superpowers. It's about a tragedy happening right now. Not only are we ignoring the other 7 senses, but modern life is actively, aggressively dumbing down 3 of the 5 we do use.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This part hit me hard. Let's look at taste.
Okay.
If you are eating a standard modern diet of highly processed foods, you're basically only hitting 3 receptors: sweet, salty, and fatty.
Because they're engineered that way.
Exactly. Everything is engineered to hit those 3 notes for maximum dopamine. We are completely losing our palate for bitter, sour, astringent, and complex spicy profiles. We are narrowing the bandwidth of taste.
Then look at touch. We exist in a completely frictionless world. We wear shoes with thick foam soles that completely isolate us from the texture of the earth. We walk on flat, polished concrete.
We drag our fingers across completely smooth glass phone screens all day long.
Yes. We sit in climate-controlled rooms where the air is perfectly stagnant. We're aggressively numbing the tactile feedback loop that humans evolved to rely on.
And smell. We live in sterile indoor environments, and any natural scent is immediately masked by artificial, uniform fragrances.
Plug-in air fresheners.
Synthetic colognes, identical laundry detergents. It's all just flattening our experience.
So think about the metaphor you used earlier. You are sitting in front of a magnificent concert grand piano, which is your 12-point biological capability. But instead of playing complex concertos using the full chromatic scale, modern life has put heavy mittens on your hands. And you are just smashing the same 3 keys over and over again. Sweet, smooth, and synthetic.
This is a profound warning for anyone listening. If your biology is tuned to the number 12, if your nervous system is designed to process the complex 12-beat rhythm of the cosmos, and you are only stimulating a tiny fraction of that bandwidth through screens and processed food, you aren't just being unhealthy.
You are literally disconnecting yourself from the frequency of reality itself.
You are tuning out the cosmic broadcast. You are shrinking your entire existence down into a synthetic little box.
It is sensory deprivation disguised as luxury. And to break out of that box, we have to push our understanding of 12 even deeper. We have to transition from biology and music into the literal building blocks of matter. We have to look at chemistry.
Okay, this is where Diamond Quintessence goes full-blown sacred geometry. Because once you understand that 12 is a frequency, a vibration that organizes reality, you have to completely rethink how physical matter is constructed.
Let's start with what we all know, the standard periodic table of elements.
The one hanging in every high school science classroom, Mendeleev's table.
Right, it's a blocky, two-dimensional grid. It looks like a brick wall. It organizes elements by atomic weight and electron shells, which is incredibly useful for linear material science. But it visually promotes a philosophy of separation.
It makes you think of elements as distinct, isolated building blocks.
Exactly. It completely ignores the concept of frequency. It treats an atom of gold and an atom of oxygen like different colored Lego bricks, rather than what they actually are, vibrating energy.
Which is such a limited way to view reality.
But the text contrasts this with a completely different model. Walter Russell's periodic table.
Tell us about Walter Russell.
Walter Russell was a polymath, an artist, and a mystic who completely re-envisioned chemistry in the early 20th century. Russell argued that the universe is not made of stuff. It is made of motion. It is made of waves.
So it's all vibration.
Therefore, he didn't arrange the elements as separate blocks in a grid. He arranged them based on frequency, pitch, and octaves.
He arranged chemistry exactly like sheet music.
Precisely. Imagine Russell's table not as a flat grid, but as a continuous three-dimensional spiral, like a spring.
Okay.
As you move up the spiral, the pitch, the vibrational frequency of the atoms increases. And just like on a piano keyboard, where a C note repeats at a higher pitch every 12 keys, the chemical elements repeat their fundamental properties at specific intervals on this spiral.
Okay, I need a concrete example here. I want to make sure I'm fully grasping this. How does a chemical element act like a musical note? Let's take the noble gases. Helium, neon, argon.
Perfect example. The noble gases are chemically inert. They are perfectly stable. They don't react. They don't form bonds. They are completely at rest.
Right.
In Russell's musical chemistry, the noble gases are the anchor points of the octaves. They're the C note on the piano. Every time the spiral completes a full vibrational rotation, it hits a noble gas, a point of perfect rest and balance before beginning the next octave of elements.
That is incredible. And here is where the text brings everything full circle. Picture this musical, spiraling, periodic table of elements and wrap it around the geometric structure we talked about at the very beginning of the show, the Diamond A spire.
When you map Russell's spiral onto the Diamond A spire, the geometry aligns perfectly. Those noble gases, the anchor points of rest and perfection, situate themselves precisely at the crossing points, the intersections of the diamond structure.
So chemistry is literally responding to the exact same geometric and vibrational laws as a musical scale. The elements that make up your physical body, the oxygen you're breathing right now, the iron in your blood, they are notes in a cosmic symphony arranged on a 12-point diamond geometry.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it completely validates the classical concept of the quadrivium.
Yes. Explain the quadrivium for the listener, because this is the educational framework we abandon, and I think it's why so many people feel disconnected from the world today.
In classical antiquity and through the Middle Ages, the foundation of all higher learning was the quadrivium. It consisted of 4 disciplines: arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, and music.
But they weren't taught as separate subjects, were they?
No. Ancient scholars believe these 4 disciplines were intrinsically, inseparably linked as different expressions of the exact same truth.
The text explains this beautifully. Arithmetic is pure number. It is the concept of 1, 2, 3. Geometry is number existing in physical space, shapes, and angles. Music is number existing in time, rhythm, and frequency over a duration. And astronomy is number existing in both space and time, the massive physical orbits of planets moving rhythmically through the void.
And when you take those 4 disciplines of the quadrivium and map them onto our diamond structure, they naturally ascend toward the green and blue diamonds. the realms of the statesperson and the spirit.
Because they aren't just math. What this implies is that chemistry, geometry, and physics aren't dry, soulless subjects meant to be memorized for a standardized test. They are the literal sheet music of the divine.
They are the mathematical language that infinite energy uses to manifest the physical world.
For anyone listening who has ever felt a conflict between logic and intuition, or between science and art, this should be a profound moment of integration. Science and art are not opposing forces fighting for dominance in your brain. Chemistry and poetry are not enemies. They are the exact same underlying reality, vibrating at different pitches. You don't have to choose between being a rational, logical being and a creative, spiritual being. They are both expressions of the exact same 12-point universal harmony.
They are two lenses looking at the same diamond.
Okay, we have covered massive ground today. We've looked at the orbits of Jupiter, the mythologies of ancient civilizations, the dissonance of 12-tone music, the numbing of our cranial nerves, and the spiraling music of the periodic table.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. But the genius of Diamond Quintessence is that it doesn't leave you floating in the cosmos. It brings all of this massive structural theory all the way back down to Earth, directly into the narrative of your personal life.
It does this by tackling the most famous narrative structure in human history, Joseph Campbell's hero's journey.
Right. Joseph Campbell was an incredibly influential mythologist who studied stories from thousands of cultures across the globe and realized they were all telling the exact same story.
From the Epic of Gilgamesh to Star Wars, every great story follows a specific blueprint.
And how many steps are in Campbell's blueprint?
Exactly 12 steps.
Of course it is. 12 steps to achieve psychological wholeness. And the text maps these 12 steps perfectly onto our corrected diamond stages from the beginning of the episode.
Let's walk through it, because this maps directly onto the struggles of every person listening. Every hero's journey starts in step 1, the ordinary world. In our geometric model, this is the red diamond, the realm of the athlete.
This is your comfort zone. This is the status quo. You are the athlete, learning the rules, going to work, maintaining your hygiene, doing your daily tasks.
You are Luke Skywalker on the moisture farm, staring at the twin suns. You are Frodo Baggins living peacefully in the Shire. You are in the red diamond.
But you cannot stay there, or there is no growth.
Right. Step 2 is the call to adventure, followed by refusal of the call, meeting the mentor, and finally, step 5, crossing the threshold.
And in our structural map, crossing the threshold represents a violent spiral downward, away from the comfort of the red diamond, straight down into the gray diamond, the realm of the warrior.
This is the part of the movie where everything goes horribly wrong. Your village is burned down, you get fired from your job, you receive a terrifying medical diagnosis, your relationship collapses.
You are thrust onto the road of trials, you face the belly of the whale, the supreme ordeal.
You are deep in the gray diamond, operating purely on adrenaline, fear, and the absolute necessity of survival. You are quite literally fighting the dragon.
And this is where the geometry is so illuminating. In modern psychology, we tend to view these gray diamond moments, our crises, our failures, our deepest anxieties, as proof that we are broken or that we have failed at life.
But the structural mapping proves the exact opposite. The descent into the gray diamond is a mathematically necessary trial in your 12-step evolutionary journey.
You cannot reach the ultimate boon without fighting the dragon. You need the gray diamond to forge the ego death required for true growth.
Exactly. The crisis is structurally necessary. The fires of the gray diamond are what burn away your naivete. But, and this is the absolute crucial warning of the hero's journey, you must not stay there.
The hero cannot live permanently in the underworld.
After facing the abyss and overcoming the ultimate task, the hero must initiate what Campbell calls the magic flight.
They have to resurrect. They have to travel back up the structure, escaping the gravitational pull of the gray diamond's fear and survivalism.
And when they return home, they do not return to the red diamond.
Because you can't.
Right. You can never go back to being the naive, untouched athlete. You have seen too much. You have learned too much. Instead, the final steps of the journey, the resurrection and return with the elixir, place you squarely in the green diamond, the realm of the statesperson.
A new, higher status quo is achieved. The hero has tamed their warrior ego in the fires of the gray diamond, and now they sit in the green diamond, sharing their boon, their hard-won experience, and their deep empathy in service of their community.
What this geometric mapping gives us is a framework of ultimate hope. It reveals the human suffering and crisis actually have an architectural purpose.
I really want you to hear this, because someone listening to this right now is deep in the gray diamond. Whatever struggle you are going through right now, whatever crisis is keeping you awake at night with a knot in your stomach, you aren't stuck.
You haven't failed the game of life.
Exactly. You are just in the middle steps of your personal 12-step journey. You are on the road of trials. The dragon is scary and the survival instinct is exhausting, but the magic flight is coming. The green diamond is waiting for you to bring your knowledge home and share it. The crisis is just a node on the geometry. It is not the destination.
And once you reach the green diamond, you tap into the blue diamond spirit for a flash of new inspiration, and the 12-step cycle begins all over again, a continuous breathing spiral of growth.
So what does this all mean? We started this deep dive talking about how murky and confusing human development can feel. We've been living with a broken map, a linear staircase that tricks us into glorifying a permanent state of war.
But when you apply the corrected diamond mapping, when you look at the universal recurrence of the number 12 in the stars and in our myths, when you understand Walter Russell's musical chemistry, and when you trace your own life through the hero's journey, it all points to one undeniable, cohesive truth.
The truth that you are not a random accident wandering through a chaotic, meaningless void. You are a living, vibrating participant in a highly structured, infinitely beautiful universe that operates on precise musical mathematics.
You are a 12-point being in a 12-point cosmos.
You are designed to cycle. You are designed to breathe in the learning of the athlete and breathe out the service of the statesperson, moving flawlessly to the 12-beat rhythm of reality. But I want to leave you with one final provocative thought, something to chew on long after you turn this off.
Okay, let's hear it.
If our biology, our musical scales, our sacred myths, and the orbits of the very planets all pulse to the perfect, completed rhythm of 12, what happens when we hit 13?
That is the threshold of the unknown. What lies beyond a perfectly completed cycle?
Is 13 just a mathematical anomaly, a prime number that awkwardly breaks a cosmic pattern? Or is it the hidden spark? Is 13 the blue diamond spirit intervening?
The sudden, unpredictable flash of divine inspiration.
Exactly, the flash that shatters the old, comfortable loop and initiates an entirely new, unfathomable dimension of existence for you to explore. Don't settle for the five senses. Don't settle for the gray diamond. Keep questioning, keep vibrating, and keep exploring your own deep dive.